Good evening, my lovely flockers. Welcome to Evelyn's Dark Web of Horror. I am Evelyn Ravencroft. This is Azrael, my little sidekick. The angle at which we observe the world is our perspective. Everyone can see the same thing, but because we all see it from a different perspective, we are impacted by it differently. Tonight, we dive back into horror film as we discuss a critically acclaimed short film, Beware the Waxing Moon. Ooh, it's giving me the shoes. It also gives us a unique perspective into the very real and very scary issue of domestic violence. Let's take a look at the trailer. Sweetheart, you look so handsome. We're going to the church where your daddy used to preach. They're just going to eat you up. What's wrong?
Mom, do you believe in monsters?
What kind of monsters?
You know, like werewolves, vampires, and demons?
Oh no, honey, monsters like that don't exist.
Then what kind of monsters are there?
I think you're too young to be worrying about something like that. Now go get in the car. You're going out, it's a full moon tonight.
No, it isn't.
Close enough. Where are you going?
Open the door, Amy!
You lied! It is a full moon tonight, I saw it! Fair warning, we will be discussing spoilers for this film. The film is linked in the description of this video if you want to watch it before we spoil anything. We wouldn't want to give it anything away. Please welcome the writer and director of Beware the Waxing Moon, Jason McGhinnis.
Good evening, Evelyn. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining me this evening, Jason. It's always a pleasure to have you lurking about. We won't have you as the observer this evening.
The observer is a quite interesting character to play.
Yes. So tell me what Beware the Waxing Moon is about. Tell me where it came from, the idea.
Beware the Waxing Moon is a werewolf film. One of the first short films that I did. When you asked me where it comes from, it was a bit of a forced creation. So it was part of the 48-hour film project, which if you're not familiar with the 48-hour film project.
Yes, tell the class, please.
It's a film exercise in which competing teams show up at an event, and at 8 o'clock on a Friday night, all the teams are given the same prop, the same character, and the same line of dialogue. And then from there, each team draws from a hat a different genre. And from that point, all the teams are to go out and create a short film, less than 8 minutes long, due in 48 hours. They have to be back with a film in hand, a USB or a disc or something to turn it in. And you know, there's a really lot of time constraints. I like the format because it's as close to leveling the playing field of artistic creation as you can do, because everyone's working with the same time constraints. Now everyone may have different levels of experience or different levels of equipment, but you're all working with the same time constraint, and that helps. But this one was specifically for a horror film or a horror contest, and all the genres were horror, such as zombie, psychological, psycho, witches, vampires,
witches.
Things like that. And we just happened to draw werewolf for that one. So that's kind of where the creation came from. Where the inspiration for it came from. We shot it over the weekend, and it turned out fantastic. So I hope that if you haven't seen it, that you will see it after we've talked and enjoy it.
And the link will be down below, correct? Yes.
Right.
So werewolf movies have been around for years. What does your film bring to the genre?
I think all werewolf films have a sense of the duality of man. There's the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde aspect of a werewolf. There's a person who can be a normal person and beneath the surfaces or under certain circumstances, they can come out and become a very bestial, animalistic type creature. In this film, we explore how that happens in the context of domestic violence. So, spoiler alert, what you're seeing in Beware the Waxing Moon is a family that is experiencing domestic violence from the husband. It's portrayed as transforming into a werewolf. Now, based on the perspective in which we view this film or this exchange of events, it makes you wonder, is he really a werewolf? Or maybe he's not a werewolf, and the child who's involved in this domestic violence experience, who has a very active imagination, maybe that's just how he's observing it and putting his situation into context.
That sounds very intriguing. Every year or so, we get a major release of a werewolf film. Tell me what your favorite werewolf movies are that inspired you. Why are they so popular?
As a child growing up, I don't know when the movie came out, early 80s, mid 80s, it was called Silver Bullet. And it was about a group of children who were dealing with a werewolf in the neighborhood. And just as a child experiencing this, the film being portrayed through the eyes of children, it always resonated with me. It stuck with me. I've always remembered it. And in this film, it even comes through in the sense that it's told from the eyes of a child.
And I do believe you have a silver bullet in there as well.
There is a silver bullet, and you'll just kind of have to see what happens with the silver bullet.
How did you pull off your fantastic transformation? Azrael almost transformed himself into a raven and took off when he saw it. It's a little frightful.
That's quite the compliment. So any werewolf movie, you've got to have the transformation scene. The transformation scene is the sell. That's the sell of the film. And I knew if I was going to do this one, I had to have a good transformation. But you only have 24 hours to do it, 48 hours to do it, I'm sorry. So how do you do that practically with no prep work? You can't, we didn't know we were going to draw werewolves, so how do you prepare a werewolf, the practical effects for a werewolf transformation? You just can't. But what we did do was we used some green screen work. Our actor, Jeremiah Wood, who played the werewolf, we filmed him in front of a green screen, both out of costume and in costume, performing the exact same motions. And thankfully, Jeremiah was an excellent actor. He was able to mimic the same motions in costume and out of costume so that everything blended together perfectly. We used some effects to mesh the transaction, to blend it, and really make it work. We added some sound effects to really sell it. And that was, to me, when we watched that in the theater with the rest of the people participating in the 48-hour film competition, you heard people audibly make a noise, wow, oh, that was a great transaction.
And lots of people asked about it also, how you did it. They were amazed.
Right. Now, maybe it's not going to be Hollywood level special effects, but with the constraints we had, I was extremely pleased with how that transformation came across.
Yes, like I said, it was truly terrifying. Do you have any behind the scenes stories from the shoot?
One of the scenes that I thought was pretty funny, my son, Carter, played the child in the film. And again, spoiler alert, he pulls the trigger on the silver bullet that eventually does away with the werewolf. But the shot that we made of him holding the gun outright, we did a close-up shot of him holding the gun outright, the reveal that he had fired the bullet. The barrel is close to the screen. There's smoke coming from it. We do a rack focus change to see his face and see him being the one that fired the shot. Well, he had to hold this gun out at arm's length for the entirety of the shot. It was 5-10 seconds maybe. He was 8 or 9 at the time, and that gun was gigantic compared to him. It was the biggest pistol we could find, and of course we used proper gun safety at all times. The gun was never loaded. No one was ever directly in front of the barrel at any time. So safety was first and foremost, but he was struggling to hold that gun the way he did in order to get those shots. But he was a trooper, and he made a really good shot, a film shot, and really pleased with how it turned out.
He's so little and so cute in the film. It's It's nice that he saved the day.
He did.
What awards have you received for this film?
So for this one, we did win. We won Best Use of Prop, which was a spider web, and that was an incredible scene we had where we focused in on the spider web with the character walking out to observe the full moon and sort of start to become trapped in this web. That was a great shot. We won for Best Prop. We won Best Cinematography. We won Best Special Effects, and then we were runner-up for Audience Favorite, which to me, that's really the highest honor. I'm not concerned with what a judge might think of any of my films, but when an audience enjoys the film, that means we've made a success.
That is correct. It's such a good film.
Well, thank you.
Made such an impact, especially for domestic violence. So tell me, Jason, where we can see this film.
So this film is widely available. You can see it on YouTube. It is on Amazon Prime as well. We can include links to this video, and you can see it in either of those places.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining me, Jason. It's been a pleasure, as always, discussing your films.
Well, thank you for having me. I hope to see you again in the future.
Well, I think we might do that. We'll arrange that. Azrael will be excited too.
Good.
Until next time, my lovelies. We'll see you later.